happening, everyone? Just another amazing Friday in Hexaco. Nothing to worry about. Not looking at the price chart. Do not tell me what the prices are. I do not care what they are. Is this 2025? As our friend Tommy would say, is this 2025? I don't think so. Last I checked my calendar, it hasn't even ticked over 2024 yet. So there's nothing going on except building, as our friend Vitalik used to say. I guess he still says it. Probably still says it. Every bear market. It came up 2017 bear market, but I imagine that's still the ethos of true crypto and the DeFi ecosystem. Anyways, today thought about this stream and I really wanted to go through a bunch of different stuff on, I just think that I've talked about a lot of stuff on the channel. Me and of course, people I've had on and I've had guests go through and explain things in detail. And even for me, when I'm watching streams sometimes with other people, it doesn't really click over time. It takes a while sometimes, or maybe you just come in the middle of the stream and you just don't get all of it, and it just whatever. With this stream, I want to go through a lot of different ways. Secret weapons, if you got kind of just coin in quote secret weapons, they're not really secrets. It's more of just ways that either people don't talk about, don't quite understand, or just the ways that aren't really factored in when you look at the value of PulseChain, the ecosystem, and how this thing was designed and the community it's built for, the greatest thing on earth, without having better words to say it. So that's what I want to do with the stream. Get your questions in the chat. We'll get to as many as we can. But I think the guest I have today is well-versed in many aspects of the ecosystem and different ways to make money. Check out Making Money. I think was that number 2. I did a series Making Money. I'm still doing the series. I have Access coming up on the new year in it. I think Neil was on Making Money number 2 or 3, one of those. Sloth was on the first one. Shout out to Sloth in the chat. And lots of different ways to make money in the ecosystem. So definitely a person to listen to content on PulseChain and otherwise. It was a Hexagon first and all that. So anyways, without further ado, I'll get the chat in just a moment. Welcome back to the show. Neil for T-shirts. How's it going?
Hey, Max. How's it going, man?
It's going great, man. I got my PulseX shirt on today. I don't bring this out very often. I just kind of bring it out when it's 1/10 the sack price. That's when I try to bring it out, just to remind people it still exists. It's still good.
Oh yeah,
still good product. How you doing, man? How's the? I was talking to DivCatcher about this a day or two ago, and I was saying, how's the gradual broke syndrome? How you dealing with that? Instead of the sudden wealth syndrome, we have the gradual broke syndrome the last year or two. How's that going?
Well, I don't know, man. I'm up on my sacks and some of my things, so I feel pretty good actually. I made some good decisions and picked the right projects, and I'm happy with things. I mean, I have hope for the future. I mean, this is the bottom. Now it's time to scoop it all up.
Well, I definitely want to hear those secrets. I mean, you spilled quite a few secrets on the Making Money show as well. Again, if anyone hasn't seen that, search RHMax, Making Money in Crypto, Neil for T-shirts. That was a great stream. All the ones in the series have been great, but yeah, again, Neil is one of the people who you're like, yeah, Neil's not sad right now for various reasons. I think he's got an idea of how this ecosystem works and the different plays there are. So that's what I want to get into here is a lot of people, again, it's one of those things. Hey, buy PulseChain, hold it for a while. You can do certain stuff with it. You can lock up with a validator. There's all these ecosystem projects. A lot of them do a lot of different things. We don't quite know how good they are for the ecosystem. You can theorize about it. There hasn't been enough time to really figure this stuff out, but maybe people did the math beforehand. They've looked at the numbers and sort of understand the different capabilities these products bring, and just inherently in PulseChain, the value and why this is just such a big deal. More than the SAC, more than the $1 billion that went up and down, all this stuff. That's why I want to get into it. That's what I want to get into it with you about this. Is there's so much more, and I think we're scratching the surface. So that's why we'll start with, more than a pedestrian view. People, let's just assume most people in the ecosystem, hey, PulseChain, L1, great narrative, lots of people building on it. But what are the things that we can talk about that really help lock up value? They help people not sell PulseChain. They want to use PulseChain, just like Ethereum. You always need ETH to make transactions. You always need PLS. But why are so many people so bullish on this ecosystem?
Well, I think with what Liquid Loans has done with their forking of the Liquidity protocol, it is it has emboldened a brand new layer one to really have the ability to skyrocket in value. I mean, Ethereum was out for a while before Liquidity launched, and so now we're in a position where we have a sub-sacrifice price on a layer one with the ability to lock up tokens for indefinitely, and you don't have to sell. And so basically, the only way it can go is up. I mean, you can go down a little, but I mean, the potential to move up in value has increased so much because of where we are in position with the market and our launch and everything else. I mean, we're only a couple months old. Now we have a lending protocol, fix have another one coming on, and we can lock up all these layer one tokens in these vaults and not sell them and extract value from that as they appreciate value and do other things with it. And there's tons of plays you can do with those type of things. So that's just one aspect with the Pulse chain and the concept and the mindset of never selling. I mean, if you could always extract value and not sell, why would you do that? I mean, that's if you're selling, you don't have the asset anymore. It's gone. Now you have to buy it back, usually at a higher price, typically, once you have the movement in the market. So,
are the risks lower for example, with that, borrowing? There is that question of why wouldn't you do it? And the thing always comes up is liquidations. You're taking leverage on your position. You're taking this sort of risk depending on how much collateralization stuff you have. Are there certain times that it's easier or more of a not no brainer, but like less risky time to do this? Is it more towards things at bottom and say, hey, I don't think there's going to be a 50% drop anymore? Like it's unless meteor hits, it's maybe if I have that much PLS and I want to take a loan on it to go do stuff. How do you factor that in? Like when are the times to do it, and when are the times that are like, that not a good play?
Well, now it's the best time to take a loan because the prices are the lowest. I mean, we're almost at the bottom again. I mean, so and given that we're 10x from SAC and there were a lot of sacrificers, I mean, who's gonna sell a loss? Only foolish people do so. So now's the best time to take a loan if you have enough pulse to do so. So that's the position you can be in, and you can have your collateralization rate really high, so you're always safe, 1,000% or something. But I mean, have we moved more than what 15 to 20% since PulseChain launched? Not that much. I mean, and it's been a slow move. We did do. So there's plenty of time to adjust your vault collateral ratio if you need to. So these are just these tools, used properly and appropriately, can be very beneficial to people. And I think the chain as a whole will benefit by having these types of tools on it.
So liquid loans in particular, it gives us users, again, the pedestrian view of this is, okay, you can go use it to take loans. Okay, maybe I want to, go chase yield over here, do whatever else with the loans. But how does that help, instead of just the user, how does that help PulseChain? Like what is liquid loans existing and having, the most, I think it's like the biggest stable coin. I'll pull up the chart in a second when Axis posted it. The biggest stable coin on PulseChain now. And how does it help? Like, what does that mean? Like, why is that important? Like, what if it had $1 million compared to $23 million of stable coins made? What is the difference?
Well, the difference is liquidity, right? What can you do with that money? People are taking these loans and doing something with them. And I'd imagine a lot of people are using them for LP because the incentivization that liquid loans had in the front end, you can pair your Pulse with your USDL, provide LP, and then you can get incentivized to get more loan token. So that one move alone brought a lot of value to the system as far as TVL and the whole chain. Now, if you think about when that incentivization period ends, what are people going to do with their USDL? Are they going to buy something else, or are they going to put it somewhere else and say another liquidity pool which pays a pretty good yield, right? And that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to make money on their money if they're smart, and that's where you extracted value from your asset. Now you want to make more money in your value. Again, how do you do that? You got to find places like providing LP in various protocols to do so. And there's also farms and stuff that are available. You can maybe some incentivized farms. But one of the biggest benefits that would probably help PulseChain would if some of the whales would take their USDL, bridges over to Ethereum, and pair it with Ethereum, or pair it with another stablecoin over there. So that would then link and bond liquidity from Ethereum side to PulseChain side via the USDL stablecoin. Which that's something big players can do though.
We saw some, weren't they pairing, somebody bridged a bunch of wrap Pulse over to Ethereum to pair it with, I don't know what they paired it with, but they were doing that in order to make that sort of pairing and connection. And, what is that, I don't know, I look around though, and I think, okay, we're kind of isolated, but is that on purpose? Like, do we want to be paired with a bunch of other stuff on other chains that we think are going to go up? Or is it better that we're in air? What if they go down, but we have a bull run? Like, what makes the most sense there?
Well, I mean, you really need your assets paired across all other chains. Think about Ethereum. Where's it paired at? All of the chains, right? Where's USDC paired with? All across all the chains. DAI across all the chains. That's what you want. We want USDL paired across all the chains. So it brings value back to PulseChain in the end, right? So people can take the USDL, come to PulseChain, and redeem $400 worth of Pulse anytime they want to. You see, so that value that's exchanged through all the chains, the liquidity is bonded, so you have a tremendous amount of value that you can draw from, just like USDC and DAI and Tether and all these others, the same thing. So we have to do that ultimately if we want to really bring value. Because right now, without new money, the only other way to do it is bring new money in from somewhere, either through Coast with fiat on ramps, or you go to have to bridge it in across the bridge from another chain. So how else are you going to bring value?
That's a good thing to bring up too. So what, three ways bringing value in? You want to go over them just for people again?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can bring in like direct fiat value through Coast from your bank account. That's one way to bring in value to the chain, and then do what you want with the tokens once you get here. Then you can bridge it in through like Ethereum and stuff. That's one way to do it directly over. Or you can bring value, your tokens from PulseChain, and put them on other chains and pair them up. You'll be earning fees the whole time, and then ultimately that money is then liquidity bonded back to PulseChain, increasing our overall valuation in the markets.
Gotcha. So how much of those three things have been happening? Which ones have been the most successful so far? I mean, the bridge's got like, I think 70 million.
The bridge is the first, obviously, is only to get value in. The second would be probably Coast, because they have a couple $1 million they brought in. I can't remember, maybe $8-10 million have been brought in of fiat to Coast stablecoin, and then the others just starting to happen, with the Pulse and with the USDL. And more people who do that, more value we can then be bonded to. It'll be better for the entire chain.
Yeah, you mentioned the whales. You wish the whales would do more of the bonding to for other chains. Are those things that you see, in the next few months or so? Are there things that you can imagine will happen for this? Like, do you see it kind of like we're building this stair step up to moon, up to heaven, up to wherever a good place is? Do you see the things happening in place, such as liquid loans launching, all this USDL being minted? What are the steps on the staircase to get us where we want to go?
Okay, so that's my opinion now, obviously, but I see the liquid loans and the Power C imminent launch with Earn. Those are building blocks of providing value extraction from assets. That allows us to do what we said previously with bonding liquidity across different chains. But what's going to come in the future here very shortly is a interoperability between chains and ability to cross trade safely and effectively without having to have bridge risk. That's coming. The technology is being built as we speak with different protocols, and so once that hits, then the ability to have cross-chain swapping and arbitrage and those type of options will be available in an effective and fast and a safe manner. So so all these things will build up to situations like that. And the more Pulse we have bonded to Ethereum, the more we pump when Ethereum pumps, and the reverse is true obviously as well. So, but that's just the market, right? And it's really, really hard for a chain to be isolated and do well without a constant flow of fresh capital. And so as long as we're isolated and not having fresh capital come in, we'll be a stagnant chain. We'll just be trading amongst ourselves, which is kind of what's happening at now. If you look at the overall trade value on a daily basis. And so And once we have tools, automation tools and stuff like Tetra and all come into play, some of those things will probably pump up as far as the daily transactions. But until we go across chain or bring fresh capital in, we'll kind of be treading water the whole time.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about this, the two different, I guess, thoughts here too of, okay, we want to be paired to things, I guess, that go up, but also I guess there's a trade-off. There's, okay, there's liquidity. You want to be bonded against across multiple chains like Ethereum and DAI and stuff like that. But also, I don't, is there a part of that let's say, this doesn't happen for a while and a lot of the chains go up and we're not sure how much longer they're going to go up. And then we kind of are late to the bull market or something like that. And now we're bonded so much that does it hold us down? Is there any scenarios like that we want to kind of optimize for?
Well, it's kind of hard to optimize because you're talking about, individual people acting in their best interest, right? So the fact is, people go where the money's treated the best. And so if you think, like right now, Ethereum has a pump going on. If you think going to Ethereum was better for your bags, that's what you'll do, because people, are going to try to protect themselves. They know that PulseChain's here, but they say, well, I can take money over here, maybe earn something else more because it's pumping. You can't blame them because they have their own interest in mind and they want to use their money in capital wisely. But if we can offer better incentivization over here through different protocols and projects, maybe we can entice them to come back. And that's kind of like the vibe I get through other people I talk to is, because nothing's really happening on a large scale, maybe I can make my money over somewhere else and come back with more money to PulseChain to help kickstart it. So that's kind of the vibe I'm feeling and getting from people who really want PulseChain to succeed, because it's got the most upper potential of any other tools on Ethereum or any other chain for that matter, because we're so new.
Yeah, that seems to be I feel that sentiment too, where it's like people are they're hovering, right? They're like, what, should I stay here? Should I go somewhere else? It seems to be, a lot of it or a lot of people seem to be just worried about SEC stuff, how long that's going to last. Are we going to miss the bull run? Like just all these situations that just come up in your mind. You're like, oh my gosh, am I making the right choice? Should I leave my money here? Should I take it out? And like you said, kind of bring it back later. Do you feel comfort? And if you do, how do you feel comfortable about leaving your money, PulseChain and playing here and building here, and like those kind of, those horrible situations, imaginary or not, that are on people's minds?
Well, because PulseChain is decentralized, I don't have to worry about government shutting it down. Government can shut down Ethereum. We've already seen Binance shut down when some fraud happened. That's not decentralized at all. Other chains go down, like Solana's. How many times did it shut down? Just broke, just stopped working several times, like twice in 1 week, I remember, and these other smaller chains with hardly any activity and liquidity. So yeah, I feel confident that PulseChain's a safe place to be. But again, in all market conditions, we got to learn to be patient in a bear market. And as the tools are coming out and are being built by all these products, we will have more and more opportunities to use these tools to make money within the DeFi landscape. And I think once we're done with what we're building on our stuff, Tetra and Omnis, I think you'll see more and more people dabbling and using these tools to better their positions within the ecosystem.
Well, even when people take the side of, okay, it's decentralized, I get it, IPFS, oh my gosh, Richard's not hosting anything now, but there's still this, this cloud, or there's this thing going on, there's this uncertainty. Why would how can I feel comfortable putting money here right now? Am I just going to wait? Or if I'm going to wait so long and I see other stuff go up, I'm just going to get out. Like, because maybe they think that, this is going to suppress prices, or it's going to just make people, again, they're in, but everyone else, they look around, they can't talk anyone else to getting in because of, whatever the feeling is, like that kind of feeling. How do you deal with that?
That's a tough one, because it's a psychological narrative you have to overcome, right? How do you get over fear, right? And the solution to fear is hope. Well, we know we're building over here, and because we've been in it so long, all of those sacrifice and stuff for all these different projects, been with Richard for a long time. But we know that Richard's just a guy at the end of the day, and he built the chain. Chain's running. It's decentralized. Great. Like Richard said, if he falls off the face of the earth, Hex still runs, PulseChain still runs. That's fine. So we really don't need Richard to do this. It's up to us as the individual users and developers and builders on this chain to make something appealing to the masses. And we're doing that. Things like liquid loans and Power City, and what Buck has done with the PH ecosystem. All these things, we're building the tools, and we continue to build the tools. And there's other protocols waiting to launch, like Win-Win. It's waiting to launch, waiting for things to be finished, so they can have their stuff. And I know the guys have been working hard in the background for all the different protocols to build things. I mean, we got a Pulse native wallet with internet money and stuff like that. That pays you Pulse if you hold the tokens in the wallet. I mean, these are tools and stuff that we're building that you don't have that on Ethereum, right? What wallet pays you Ethereum? None, right? So these are the type of things we're building, and because we're so early in our infancy as a chain, that it's just going to take time. And the market's kind of going against us. The SEC is going against us. So you just kind of take the hits and not worry, because at the end of the day, the sun will shine, and we will be standing tall amongst the debris that's left in the next bear market.
Hear that, everyone? Just take a breath. Mm-hmm. I really think that is the. I mean, maybe that's the imaginary horrible. If we were to paint it, it is. Hey, we are in this amazing ecosystem. We're building everything. We're putting time, effort, energy, sweat, capital, everything in. And then you try, but when people look at it and they're about to come on board, they're like, oh, no, I see too many bad articles. I see this thing has, still unsettled, blah, blah, blah. Like, is that the imaginary horrible that people need to overcome?
Well, Richard's got a bad rap in the community just because he's called out the scammers and been right. And nobody likes somebody who's been right all the time, right? I mean, he's hit the nail on the head every single time with these guys.
Top on the day.
Right?
Top on the day. I just want to mention that. He
doesn't
mention it very often. I just want to mention that. Yeah.
Well, right, but obviously Richard's past and his ego has pretty much turned a lot of people off on him just because how he handled it. I don't think he could have done a better job with his personality, like the humble Richard that he is now. I think if he'd have been that way the whole time and still been truthful, I think he'd probably won more people over, as far as the masses, so to speak. But the thing is, you can't deny the facts, and the facts are Richard's side. He's done the right thing, and we are really truly blessed to have a decentralized chain the way it's done that nobody can turn off. So I think that's one of the things that people have to realize, that, and they're afraid to realize it. But do you also have another problem that it's still, even to this day, difficult to get on the blockchain and do business and transact, because there's technical things you have to overcome. You have to understand what a wallet is, and seed phrases, security, and then, centralized versus decentralized, all the things we've all talked about, to a blue in the face over here, we know about, but the average person on the street who's new to crypto doesn't. So we still have to overcome that on top of the FUD from the SEC and all this other mess. So we have like two things going against us, whereas just Ethereum or Binance just has one thing. So that's just part of it. And we're working on tools to try to make it easy for everybody ourselves. So it's just, it's just one of those things that take time to build.
I think that's a great point to bring up too, on just the way people buy it. So centralized exchanges, can you see us I guess first of all, do we need them? And if we don't need them, but they're nice to have, or even if we do need them, what value do they bring? Is that another secret weapon? Is that something that if you look up on Twitter and see that some big exchange listed PulseChain or PulseX, does that propel us forward in some way?
No, there's no doubt about it. More eyes on us. I mean, if the centralized exchanges do bring value, because they've brought value to Ethereum and Binance, all these other tokens. There's no even dumb meme coins that are worthless today but rose to fame during the last cycle, right? All because of centralized exchanges. People go and buy them and and sell them and do stuff like that. So yes, if we had a centralized exchange that would list us, great. The problem is, though, there's two sides to that. It's great for exposure, great for bringing money and capital in, but the other side is it's also controlled and regulated, right? So you always have to worry about that, and that's something that's a lot of red tape. So for Richard to start his own centralized exchange, or some other someone with a lot of money wants to do it, it'd be really expensive and very hard to do. And there's a lot of red tape. There's probably a lot of corruption, just like anything else in government, that you would have to probably bow the knee to in order to do it. And that's some people just aren't willing to do. And I can't blame them.
Is that something? I mean, it sounds like there's some different efforts in the community. I don't know much about them, but it seems like, at least publicly, maybe privately too, there are some people who are very interested in getting exchange listings and otherwise getting the exposure for PulseChain. Is that what happens in the next few months? Would you be surprised to see some community member or whoever else to retweet some exchange that listed PulseChain based on the community doing the work?
Oh, I think it'd be very possible. We need to have, since we're not following the typical layer one pump X pump, like all the layer ones pump so much within like the first 6 months of their existence. We're not following that same trend, so we've broken that trend for whatever reason. Maybe we're unique. Maybe it's something that Richard planned. Who knows? But because of that, we're kind of looked at like, well, they're not pumping like Solana pump. They're not pumping like Ethereum pump on its launch, or pick your chain, right? But a lot of that too also was manipulated and had people with a lot of money who were basically dumping everybody's heads too. And we don't have that, right? We have our founder that locks coins and throws away the key. So it's completely different. It's very organic in that sense. So we're just a different type of chain, and because of that, we're going to behave differently with our price action. But we do behave and move up with price and valuation because we bring true value to people and people see it, versus fake hike and FOMO.
Do you subscribe to the 52 weeks to shake out the weekends?
I mean, it may take. I don't know. I mean, if Ethereum pumps even more and more people abandon ship to go over there, we will be at the lowest we could probably be. Then what if the magic carpet ride starts then, right? Where do you want to be, right? What's your potential there versus, say, a 3x over on Ethereum?
That's the biggest. That's one of the biggest points too. Is just anyone out there thinking of moving their money to another chain or about to give up. At least to me, the way I would think about it is, I've waited this long, and I know as soon as I move it, as soon as I break, it's going to go to the moon. Like that. That's the way I think about it. At least as soon as I do it, and then what am I going to feel like? Am I going to feel better or worse if I'm able to miss the magic carpet ride?
Well, how many X's will you miss if you jump back in on the way up, right? First 5, 10 X's, you know what I mean? If we all of a sudden we pump crazily, I mean, and those type of things are psychological actions that people react to, right? So all of a sudden, let's say we go back to sack rate, boom, that's a big jump. People get excited, and we jump past it, man, people really get excited. Then you start bringing the money in, and people missed all that action, right? They could have been down here. They could have been liquid loans. They could have been in Power City. They could have been with the PH ecosystem and stuff like that, having their money, earning all these fees with all the activity, right? They could have been placing limit orders the whole time, catching all these pumps, and increasing their positions, swing trading. They could have done all these things, but they left to chase a pump somewhere else. They may have made a little money, but they lost out on a lot more.
How long do we stay below sack rate, do you think?
That's a good question. I don't know. We're trending upward now, so I think when Power City launches, I think they're going to bring PulseX value because we have use case now. It's no longer a buy and burn meme coin. I just say that, but
it cracks me up. Everything
I know, but no, we'll have some value. So now we'll have a token's can be locked up, and value extracted, and it's being bought and burned, and then that will help with the overall value of the chain. We'll have more stable coins coming to the market, more stable coins bonded to other things outside of PulseChain. So then now we've doubled our ability, may not double, but at least whatever the percentage of the market's going to be for PXDC will be available to bond liquidity back to PulseChain. And then you have the arbitration between PXDC and USDL and all the other stables. So you will just have a lot more opportunities to make money and to earn fees with LP positions and stuff like that. So, and then we'll have the secondary the compound limit orders will be out by then too, so people can then buy and sell with one transaction, and they'll they can play those games and trade to their heart's content, and increase their position. So there'll be a lot of things they'll be pushing the the valuation. So it wouldn't take long for us to go past SAC up to SAC rate again, and then probably hover there for a little while until other things are brought on the market and more liquidity comes in.
See, that's the dots I want to connect. That I think you're really good at connecting the pieces that aren't just. I mean, you mentioned Power City, which eventually you'll be able to make your own stables through PulseX. To bring to PulseChain, and that's the pieces I think people are missing. It's not like this hopium thing. That's why I want to make a distinction. It's not this, oh, this thing is good for PulseChain because it sounds good for PulseChain. It's like the dots are there. The dots that you connected are there to show the value that something that's good for PulseX is good for PulseChain.
Well, exactly. I mean, and it all works together. I mean, if you get the layer one, though I think it's like net deflationary at the end, though it's kind of inflationary, but at the end it's kind of net deflationary. But it's still a good tool that everybody needs to have as gas, to run all the programs. But it also has a way to extract value from without selling it. And then you have a buying burn mechanism on a DEX token that Richard then may hopefully in time add the features to PulseX, like his own limit orders, and maybe he adds the single side staking and stuff like that. Then people have options what they're going to do with their tokens. So those type of things spur activity and spur more use case, because we're building all these are tools in DeFi. This is not just some thing you're hoping goes up so you can dump the next guy. These are tools that will help everyone to benefit from long-term DeFi plays and strategies, so they can then extract their value and then be rewarded by holding these assets. It's just a different way to think than meme coin mines and traders. It's just two different. It's two different, understandings of the system and how you want to be in the system and participate.
Well, even beyond just people buying and like, yes, ask the question. Anyone, what makes price go up? Well, people buying and holding and not selling. But I think a more helpful way of looking at it is, what are the pieces that enable that piece? Like that, we could say that, but then what are the pieces that actually make that happen? That really keep the compounding effect, the compounding over and over and over of more reasons why to hold PulseChain and PulseChain assets rather than sell them, like the compounding effect.
Well, part of the compounding effect is systems that with a closed loop design that reward people for user fees, like in Liquid Loans and Power City in their systems do that, as well as Tetra. So you have these systems that it's not, you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're not it's not like a typical Ponzi where you need new users to bring money in. People are paying money in fees to distribute to the system, to the holders of these tokens, to extract value from their assets, right? And then I think Win-Win has a system, they're going to utilize these too, and have their own their own token. I think that it will encourage people to use them and incentivize that, right? So now people can be incentivized to lock up even more tokens, right? Because they can extract value from their assets. And that's the important thing. If you can extract value without selling and come up with these different designs, that's the powerful tool that exists in DeFi, where I don't have to sell. I can be paid by just depositing more. Well, that's a no-brainer. And then I auto compound and grow my positions. You see, and that's the tool people are looking for. And then maybe, and time goes, and we've hit 100x or 1,000x. I may then sell some assets if I want to take a bigger chunk. But if I get paid all along the way, maybe I don't. Maybe I keep auto compounding if I have enough money coming in. Why kill the golden goose?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about in the bear market too, is what looking for DCA opportunities, looking for yield, and then bull. It's like, I mean, at least for me, it's being able to take the yield and actually create passive income from it, or create secure the yield, or put it more places, or yield arbitrage, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, exactly. And those are other tools that will be available in the future. Just to be able to arbitrage between your tokens. It's an incredible opportunity to increase your positions. I mean, so there's a lot of options that are coming in the near future that I think once people really get an idea, and then once other chains see how well we're doing with the tools we've created, I think you'll start seeing more and more money coming over, just because people's like, wow, I can really you take leverage, I can borrow, I can do all these things with my money, and it's safe, it's secure, it's it's no smart contract risk, no admin keys, all these type of things that they can be confident to bring their money over here. And then eventually you'll have somebody with a lot of money want to bring their money over here to really, use our systems, our tools for their benefit.
Well, speaking of the whale of whales, I'll put this in the chat real quick. This is the awesome war chest put together by Tanto Nomini, showing $3 billion from PulseX sacrifice, PulseChain sacrificed, different stuff like that. Basically, sacrifice war chest, around 600 million in stables, and then total, just got a huge ton of hex here. Unbelievable number of hex, totaling around 3.5 billion. So, it could be plus or minus. I don't know when these numbers been updated, but last I checked, it seemed pretty interestingly close. Do you think we'll ever see this money hit the market or otherwise help PulseChain?
I would hope so. Personally, I think Richard knew it was coming down, but the SEC, I think it's sitting there on purpose. And once the smoke clears, I think Richard has always been the type of person to reward those who've been loyal to him. And why wouldn't he? He doesn't need the money. He didn't need the money before he started Hex, right? He was already, retired. So it's not about money. It's about glory for Richard. He said it from his own mouth. And what would be more glorious than to have the entire chain benefit from this money coming in some form or fashion, right?
Well, how would that happen? Like if you were, if you're putting yourself in his shoes and you're thinking, all right, there's not, in a legit ethical way, all this stuff. Like how would one use this money to in a long-term stable way that would promote the ecosystem, that would help the ecosystem, that would just be like, okay, here's what you all sacrificed. You gave you all your money away. Okay, cool. Well, you gave it to somebody who's going to do something cool with it. So no expectations, but this is, here's the result of this over time.
I would imagine if Richard would use his own tokens, he would buy Hex, both sides of the Hex. He would buy the PulseX and buy the Pulse, and then he could put it in vaults, extract the value, take those stables, and put them in liquidity pairs, just to keep the value in the system, right? That'd be a simple way to bring value, to everything he's got. And then although his tokens have pumped the most, right? That's how I would think I would do it if I was him, and buy his own stuff, right? Even if he doesn't take a loan out, he could just at least buy them and hold them, if he wanted to,
I guess that's the question: is what if you had $3 billion in these assets, stables and Hex, how would you put it into PulseChain that would make sure just to make the best price performance over time, not a pump and dump type of thing, but just over time support the ecosystem, make sure there's a crazy high floor on Hex and PulseChain and PulseX and all this stuff.
I mean, he could just buy up the own. He could literally buy all the Pulse and PulseX and Hex and stick them in LP pairs, right? Just buy them up. He buys both sides of the Hex pairs, put in LP. Now you have thick liquidity. Buys Pulse and PulseX, put it in the pair. You have thick liquidity. Boom, price is going up, and you have all this liquidity now, right?
Is there any downside of doing that? Is there any reason why you wouldn't? Like, is there a loss? Like, would you be losing money over time?
Well, no, he would just he would make any future gains harder to happen, right? Because now you have too much liquidity. It takes more money to move the price, right? That's a result of bringing the money. But then if you 10,000x'd it, let's say, with that money, I don't know what the math would be, but let's say you did it. Who's benefiting from that? All the sacrificers, right? They're now rewarded for being loyal. And now you have a very, very thick liquidity in your chain. More people come in, there's a lot of value. You have a lot of money in stable coins, stuff like that. So there's value here, and there's places to make money on PulseChain. Bring your money and come join us.
And so the price would go up, and people could actually sell without nuking the price. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. People could get out when they wanted to, and Richard just keeps buying it up, right? If he took $3 billion, if he took $3 billion and bought $1 million worth of Pulse a day, how long would it take him? What is that to use all that money? We'll say a third of it. $1 billion. It's what? It's 1,000 days. He can buy $1 million a day for 1,000 days. right? Into the math.
Wow.
Think about it.
Yeah. That
Right.
sounds right.
Now, so $1 million is bought every day and just stuck in the LP. Okay, he does it. That's gonna make the price go up. I mean, there's not enough. I don't think all the whales have enough money to dump the price. And if they're using liquid loans and stuff, they're locked in anyway. And then now they can extract more value from their loans because the price goes up. You see, now they have more stable coins they can extract and do other stuff with.
But how long would that last? Would that be a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Because everything's long term. But so like how with this money, with $1 million a day or otherwise, how could it be a sustainable? Price goes up, people get out when they want to, sacrificers are rewarded, and it's all like this fair, like good game.
Well, if he never sold, I guess you could think potentially. I use $1 million a day because it's easy math. And say it takes 3 years, but roughly 3 years he can do that, right? So in 3 years, what's going to happen to the whole chain, right? How much money is going to come in outside of Richard's behavior? You see, if it's happening on a regular basis, or he announces or whatever he does, right? People will be rewarded for 3 years straight in a chain and just keeps going up and up and up. It's unheard of. And he doesn't sell. He just sticks in an LP, right? Thick liquidity.
I'm just trying to think of the downside of this too, because eventually, let's say it goes up for 3 years, and then everyone who wants to get out can get out. I guess builders can also. People can enjoy the products, right? Like PulseChain. Yeah, we want price to go up, but also the products there are solving problems for people. So
and all the assets are increasing in value. So things like liquid loans and power cities earned are giving people more and more value to extract, right? What do they do with that money they extract? If they did say 100x on their initial vault, and their vault was like $10,000, say $20,000, now they got what was it, $2 million, right? The 100x. They can now extract their value out and take those stable coins and do something with it. What if they're putting in an LP, making even more money now, right? What if they're arbitraging that between all the stables? What if they're using some of those stable coins to do cross-chain arbitrage when that technology comes out? You see? You follow me? And by the way, not to mention, all this will be automated with Tetra. They can do all these things. I think they can click a button and take their money and just keep rotating it around and moving around, making more money and making more yield through all the DeFi products built on PulseChain. You see? So this is something that's just going to make everybody very, very wealthy if this were to happen.
But Neil, what if everyone gets too wealthy and they just get off their computer and go outside and live their dreams? What do we do then?
It's a shame. A shame when having all your DeFi money going to your bank account automatically every day. That'd be just a terrible life. Just terrible.
It'd be funny, like Richard's last. By the way, I want to remind everyone, in the chat, I've heard it too. Neil says Richard. Maybe I say Richard from time to time. Could be a duck, could be a squirrel, could be an entity. Richard could not even have the keys on him. He could literally gave it to some other corporation that handles it based on someone's instructions that could not be him. We're just colloquially, is that the word? Colloquially referring to a person using his assets. Could not be the man himself. But I was thinking, like, it would be funny if like one of his last tweets was like, automated my DeFi with Tetra. I'm literally decentralized all the war chest stuff. It's all decentralized now. I have no control. It's all in the hands of automated DeFi that's making us all money. And God, with that much, God, can you? Okay, so Tetra question while we're on this, $3.5 billion going through Tetra. How good is that for fees?
Oh my gosh!
All the validators are like extremely rich now. Huh?
Well, that's the thing. People don't realize, not just the Tetra fees, but just even so what Tetra will do would accelerate the amount of transactions going through validators. Validators will be making more money. PulseX will be burnt at a faster rate than people realize. Think about how fast PulseX will be burnt as it moves around the system. People buying and selling and trading, and it runs all these complex strategies over and over. Maybe hundreds of times a day things happen. Who knows? Depends on what people build, right? And whatever else is out there. So Richard's products now we're basically going to helping Richard value his products even more. And now the hex can be auto staked, auto in staked, hedron minted, all those things, right? Moved around, bought, sold, accumulated, more T-shares, all the good stuff, right?
No, the
So
hex goes in LP pairs because we don't want the T shares to be not available to new people.
that's right. So all the things that Richard's built will automate, make it even better and more valuable. It's just going to happen. That's what the tool just does by nature. So, I mean, we're in a really good position. And I think that's why I have hope for the future, because I know what we're building to bring value to the system, because it's going to do it because that's what the tools do. And we'll do it in a way people don't have to manually do it every day and looking at a chart.
That's the dream. That's the dream. I'd rather never look at a chart again. Just be like, oh, good on charts. Not that I'm a TA guy at all, but like I just do not want something automated for me. All right, I'm gonna take a look at chat. I've been ignoring chat for a long time. Let's see what they got here. J Pond. Hey, I'll have a question. Would it work for PulseX to have a feature to stake eHex on the Pulse side network? I mean, if you can buy it on that side, surely you can stake it using PLS for gas. Anything on that, Neil?
Let me think. I'm gonna use my phone here. I gotta read this again. See. Stake eHex. I don't. That would have to be built. I think Alex could probably do something like he's doing with Hedron and do it that way, and that would be that'd be something that's outside of my expertise. But I think it could probably be done. Nearly anything is possible. You probably do it like do a Hedron wrap it somehow to stake it in some form or fashion. It's probably possible, but it'd be pretty technically difficult to do.
I've talked about this before too with Sloth. Hex v2. If there ever is a Hex v2, do you think it'll be because we see Hedron v2 working so amazingly and we're like, you know what? Hex on both chains, baby, like that kind of thing.
I think that's where it needs to happen. I think you need to have the options to do what you want with your Hex and your Hedron stuff. I think Alex he's on the cutting edge of some of this development and stuff. Look, man, we're doing the same thing. We're building from scratch. It's hard. It takes time. You want to think about. And Alex is a pretty brilliant guy, so he's got some good ideas with this stuff, and I think he's probably cracking his dust pretty well. That he's come up with some good ideas that's really going to make the future bright for all the Hexicans and people who are in Hedron and Icosa.
Happy Hello USA. Richard said the bull run go on even if there's SC ongoing case, it'll be fine. That's his take. Yeah. Speaking of that, what did you think about his Merry Christmas message? Did you get that kind of sense from him? He called Mr. Gensler out pretty hard. It seemed like. How did you feel about his anything new from that?
Nothing. I mean, nothing new. I mean, I know Richard's angle. He's tweeted it all out, and Richard knows what's up, and he knows the law, and he knows these people don't know the law, and they've lost whether they're 0 for 11. I mean, now they haven't won a case yet. I don't think. And those who capitulated just wanted to just pay them off and keep going, right? They wasn't about principles, about just pay the fine and keep rolling. But yeah, he knows, and he's got hope. He's not worried about these guys at all. He's done nothing wrong, so therefore they can just they can all take a flying leap, or he cares, and that's the sentiment I got. So,
dude, that's exactly. I mean, again, I feel like I feel this way and I think these things, and that's why I like having these conversations, because I'm like, am I the only one that thinks that Richard hasn't done anything wrong? That to this comment to Patrick, there's also Solana, Richard mentioned during the talks, Solana, people call Solana security. It's pumping, it's going up, all that stuff. Yeah. I'm the only one that I'm looking around like I feel like there's only a few people who are even willing to talk about that. Hey, he's still a good guy who's in it for glory and loves his community. Like, why is it so hard to believe? Is it? Am I in religion, Neil? Like, am I being religious believing that? I don't know.
No. I mean, it's just the facts of the matter, right? If you understand what's going on, and Richard's probably had to take some strategic legal moves to do or not do what he would normally do, like stream and talk about stuff, because I think once he got wind of this, I think my opinion is that when he switched over from the proof of work to proof of stake, he probably got wind of this. He knew that he had to act on it. He went ahead, got it to market, though it was like a bare bones version. Then he knew that he probably told the guys, look, we're not going to do the PulseX V2 stuff, and I mean like the single side staking, all that stuff. We're not doing that right now. We're going to concentrate on getting everything decentralized. That's the next step. We got to bypass any problems. If they try to shut us down, even if they do it legally, we will be protected. And that was Richard's play. We see it play out in real time. And so we're like, okay, here we are. We now have a decentralized blockchain. You can download your own stuff for your own website on your own computer and run it from yourself. So there.
Yeah, I definitely think he's prioritizing some things. And PulseX has not made the list anytime soon. But again, when does, there we go, Neil. Last question on this point. When does PulseX need to make the list? When does it need new features? When does it need things that make it look like it's worth $1 billion of things money we gave with no expectations?
I would think once he's solved 100% the decentralization thing, there's still a few little things are working out, I know, because this is hard. This is some hard tech, and interacting with technology like this is not something you easily do, like putting on the desktop of somebody else. I mean, how are limit orders going to work like that way on a technical level, right? How are you interfacing with all these things? Then he's got his own RPC. He encouraged, I know we would encourage people to, all these developers to have their own RPC, so not relying on this domain one, all these type of things. So I think PulseX will be worth $1 billion once we've kind of got past this SEC thing. I think he says, all right, let's pull the trigger. Let's get this thing done. Let's get it behind us, and we'll build what we got to build, like we said we're going to build. And by then, we will be able to borrow against it and everything else, right? With Power Cities Earn. So PulseX will still be buying and burning, like it's doing now. So all these things will benefit us all in the long run.
Yeah. So once we get, okay, so you think once past SEC thing for PulseX, because that seems to be the thing that is taking the most, I don't know, not the most central. I don't know. Maybe that has, if there is centralization, that has the most. That is the only thing that somebody actually needs to work on. Everything else is complete and done. Is that what you're thinking?
I assume. I assume. They're always tweaking PulseChain and stuff like that. There's always going to be work, people maintaining things and making sure any updates come out from Ethereum and stuff like that. But PulseX itself, it functions. It's the premier DEX, right? That's where most liquidity is. So, all right, it works for what it does. It works just fine. And as far as single side staking, all the things, we have limit orders already, so we don't even need limit orders on PulseChain. We got them through Almas. That's the first one we put on. So you really don't need limit orders. It's just really single side staking, and you can kind of do that in a way through Power Cities Earn by just locking up in the vault and extracting value, and now you've got this value. You can put in LP pools and earn passive income. So
so a lot of people don't even trade on PulseX. They go to Pidius or otherwise to do trades or Omnis or other aggregators and stuff. PulseX is kind of the place where you go to for LP, right? These days, is that what most people use it for?
Well, LP, you can trade on it. If the only pair is on PulseX, just use it. You know what I mean? You're going to pay the fee, or you're going to pay somebody else to pay it. You follow me? Now the limit order is a different story, but just as far as just trading is trading.
LP. But I guess my point with that is LP is a big deal. Like you need a place where you go to and you put liquidity positions and you move stuff around and all that. Even when the farms are not that exciting right now, the LP is a big part of stuff. Oh,
exactly. It takes LP for any chain to survive, and so all dexes that are competing for liquidity. That's just the nature of the game, right? Everybody wants the most liquidity to the thickest pairs, so they have least amount of slippage, so people can confidently trade on there. That's what everybody wants, and that's what Richard did with PulseX by having the way he did the launch to bring all the liquidity over there. So.
And Patrick, another comment from Patrick here. RHMax gets his takeoff around April, May, 3 more months left to load up in DCA. Yeah, you touched on this a little bit before, but when do you, is it, the happening, all the macro events going on, is it, some people I've seen on Twitter too have called, the bottom of our ecosystem at least. Do you think, is it past April? Is this the last few months to DCA in your opinion? Like how are you thinking about, not even when does parabolic bull run start, but is it safe to put money in the crypto right now? Are people feeling that sentiment?
Well, as the dollar continues to devaluate, I think they realize their 401k and their Roth and all are not really paying that well. They can put their money somewhere. I mean, their money's being eaten up in inflation. It's they're just being destroyed. People, I hear, story to story, these young people who are just cannot get ahead. They're stuck working 2 and 3 jobs, can't get out of it. And what little bit extra money they have, if they put in a Roth, it's just eat up in inflation. They're not getting anything out of it. And I had a lot of older folk, I had a lot of older clients who've lost just tremendous amounts of money in value because they had this money, they had $200,000-300,000 in IRAs and stuff, and it's not worth. You can't buy anything with it like they could, say 10 years ago. And they're all just distressed and upset. I'm like, that's what happens. You have hyperinflation in an economy. So crypto is the only place you can go to protect yourself from this type of things, because you can have the most potential upside than anything else on the market. I mean, what you're getting, a couple percent, on savings accounts, maybe that's about it. I mean, it's nothing. I mean, I made more than that just messing around, swing trading, USDL and
It was like an hour ago. I made more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's silly, what people think they make and stuff. So yeah, it's a sad testament to the fiat financial system, which the whole thing's a joke, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm so glad that, and I don't know how many other generations are going to have stuff like this, and maybe it'll be AI next, or maybe it'll be something else. I mean, I think crypto will be around for a long period of time, but the gains, will you think they'll be competed away in the coming decades?
That's a good question. I'd imagine you probably lose some of the parabolic nature over time, because especially once the interoperability and cross-chain swap potentials are available all over, and that have the bridge risk, I think that's going to change a lot of how people look at crypto and the safety and security and all these things. And then it's not about then the pumps and the price go up per se as a chain, but it's what tools can I use to make the most money with my money, right? Who has the best DeFi tools? Where are they located? Is it PulseChain? Is it Binance? Is it Solana? All these type of questions. I mean, I don't care who has got the biggest NFT collection on their chain. What I care about is who has the most DeFi tools where I can take my money and diversify. And better yet, who has automation tools where I can just click a button and not have to worry about anything. I mean, that alone will set us apart from any other chain out there, is the fact that you can automate your DeFi experience.
Yep, same reason I automated the official PulseChain app experience. GoRealDeFi.com. I'll go there real quick. I was tired of doing those 2 clicks, and just like Tetra, I like less clicks. So boom, boom, boom. Throw that in real quick. Anyways, Hex, all-time high. Shout out to Kaiser, by the way. Kaiser clips a lot of amazing stuff. And this tweet I thought had a really interesting angle. We'll wrap up on this unless we have any more questions in the chat. But the current price from all-time high, Hex, 112x, Bitcoin, 1.5, all those, even Solana, 2.7. What is this, when you see this, do you think other people will take into consideration when they come across their ecosystem?
I think so. I think people say, well, why didn't PulseChain do the same thing as these others, right? Because that was a narrative before we launched. All these others did this. Are we going to be half as good or 1/10 as good as some of these others? I mean, we have better products. Some of these chains are empty, right? Or are almost empty. So as far as, what tools we built on them, how many people are building on, I can't even read it from here, but
Cardano,
I mean, Cardano is a good example. What in the world can you do with Cardano right now? Do you know of anything you can do with Cardano?
I can watch Charles Hoskinson live streams.
That's about it. Okay, there you go. But yet it did all these X's because of hopium and promises. And what has he done? He didn't deliver, right? Yes, it took us 2 years. Don't get me wrong, but we're here now and we're building. We have products to show for it, right? We're building on it. We have developers. We have a high quality caliber people with the interest of the community in mind, building good products for DeFi right now on PulseChain. And it's going to, and our time that will shine will come. Once all those things are out and everything's working like it's supposed to, you just wait. I mean, we will be the envy of the blockchains because of the quality tools we have to provide to the customers in the crypto space. That's
definitely what I want to see for sure. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Charles. I think he fights for freedom, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
However, PulseChain, nothing like it. Nothing like PulseChain. Neil, before we go, again, this is the mini secret weapons of PulseChain. I feel like we touched on quite a few and elaborate situations. I think hopefully, again, people just hit the replay gang and really soak this in. There's a lot of good information. What do you think? Again, the next 6 months coming in. Can you just summarize a little bit what you're looking forward to? What are some of the secret weapons, some of the really bullish stuff on PulseChain that you're just like you're excited about and all that? We'll take it off from there.
I'm really excited Power City to launch and earn and stuff. I think they're gonna have a suite of tools and services that will be much needed on PulseChain. I like their model, their fee-based model. I think it's sustainable. And they'll have a front end for liquid loans as well as Barista too. So both of them will be coming out with their stuff, and so I'm excited to see how they integrate and how they work. I really like what Buck has done with his ecosystem. I can't wait till we see some flash loans. That'd be a cool feature coming out through Famous. I'm really looking forward to playing with that and automating that myself. And then, I like Win-Win their stuff too, because they encourage people to use these other things like Lose Liquid Loans, Power City, and all these other DeFi tools with potential rewards and stuff like that. So I think they'll be a good tool to lock up value in the system. And then, I think that those are the ones top of my head that I think are coming. I don't think of anything else that for sure is coming out. I know Jacobs is trying to work with that algo stablecoin, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get off the ground or not. But that was another interesting project that I looked into to see, but I don't know if that's ever going to come to fruition. That's not kind of outside of my expertise there, but that's what I'm really looking forward to. And then our own stuff, because we'll have automation here shortly. We'll have our Flux Pool integration. The first week of January, we'll have the Flux integration to our aggregator, so it'll be ready. And then after that, the rest of the dexes will come in pretty quickly after that. So we'll almost be a fully aggregated dex aggregator, searching all the chain, and it's
when Atlas.
It should be right after that. That's the thing. You got to have almost got to be 100% before Atlas and Stratus can go on. That's just it's a function thing, and this is difficult. Now, what people don't understand, in fact, I had a guy on Twitter ask me something the other day. He's like, look, why is this not working? Why can't I have a good price thing? I said, well, look, we only have PulseX right now. We're building. And the difference between us and every other aggregator that we know of out there or things that work like that, we don't pull price feeds from things like places like CoinGecko or any third parties. Ours comes directly from the pairs on the dexes. So that's a completely different way. And we're building everything from scratch. Not copying anything. There's no how-to manuals. There's no library event resources we can pull from. It's all being built from scratch and tested. So it takes us a little bit longer to put this stuff out there because it's got to work. And so Stu and the devs are working really hard getting our stuff together. But when we get through, we can honestly say we are completely decentralized from the system. We will have autonomy and vertical integration with our own products that we can use independently or with synergy amongst themselves, with the strategies and stuff like that. So these are things and tools things that will set us apart in the future to make us, a very quality resource for people who need to pull price feeds and stuff without relying on a third party that is like, what if CoinGecko goes down? What would happen to people who use CoinGecko? They have a problem with their servers. This earthquake and where the server farm is, and it's down for a couple of days, whatever. Imagine how horrible. What would happen? The people would be stuck. Who wants that? I would rather have my prices coming directly from what's out there on the chain than have to rely on a third party. Because we got burnt with that whole OKX debacle, and we said never again. And that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it.
Nice. Yeah, very excited for new Omnis stuff and Atlas and Stratus and all the Tetra, sub ecosystem we got on PulseChain. Very, I don't know. I don't know how many different ways I could be like, this is the greatest place on earth. Like it's so cool. And we got so many cool builders out there, yourself, Stu, and everyone else, a lot of them you mentioned too. I love a lot of their stuff. So I don't know. Is that the thing? Does it really feel, once you figure it out, does it feel too good to be true? Is that what makes, it's like, instead of, it's like the dip catcher, he's like, oh, it's so bearish that it's bullish. Is it like, it's so good that it feels like it's not that good? One of those things.
Almost, really, it's almost surreal that like we're on the precipice of this massive, influx of value that's going to come when all this stuff kicks off. Being at the bottom, at the very beginning of something is, I've never been a part of this before. I mean, imagine being in ETH day one, right, and stuff like that. How would you feel? Well, I know Richard knows how it feels. He was the Bitcoin in the beginning, 50 cent Bitcoin, all this stuff. So yeah, I think that's it's hard to really imagine. I think sudden wealth syndrome is going to be a real issue. So people need to brace themselves. I know people do a lot of dumb things when price goes up. To take unnecessary risks and stuff. And I think the tools that we are building, it should mitigate if you're smart and follow the tool, just use the tools and don't FOMO and don't do things crazy. I think you could probably maintain and hold on to your value at a better rate than just acting independently and irrationally.
It sounds pretty like sound advice to me. Wow. Neil, where can people find out more about you, your content, and Tetra and otherwise?
So go, TME./go.tetra is the Telegram channel. I have you can look for Neil for T-shares on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel, have content, talk about how Tetra works and stuff like that. It's exclusively Tetra related. And then, we have our Tetra strategy group on Telegram, and we talk about stuff. People can ask us questions, come up with ideas. We're glad to help and answer those type of technical questions. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're here, and our team admins work really hard trying to answer all the questions and give advice to people. Staking's coming soon. I don't know exactly when. That's a stupid question, but it's imminent. It just there's some things he's had to work through with some of the technical stuff. It's just right around the corner. And so that's where we're at. We're like I said, we're happy. We're over the moon how things have turned out with Omnis and its functionality and people using limit orders and stuff. I mean, it's really made a difference in a lot of people's trading experiences. I mean, they've caught tops and bottoms like they're supposed to. I had to educate people on how slippage works, but that's a learning curve for most people. But
PXDC coming up. You think people are going to be rushing Omnis to utilize the features?
I mean, they'd be foolish not to. I mean, why sit and watch a chart when you set a limit order? I mean, it's that simple, It just makes. I mean, look, I was killing it during USDL and Pulse. I mean, it was easy. So high volatility, high volume. That's your perfect chance to make money. And if limit orders, you can make money.
Careful, you're going to compete away all your future ones at PXDC. People start using it.
The tools to be used. That's what they're for. We're all doing the same thing. I mean, my price point may be different from somebody else's, and that's how it works. What I see as a deal, somebody may be trying to dump. Who knows? That's just the way markets are.
Neil, appreciate you as always.
Yeah, man.
Great stream, and sure you'll be back. Let me know again when you have some Tetra updates or anything otherwise going on. Love to have you back on, and we'll deep dive into it.
Oh man, sounds good.
All right, everyone, that's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.